Talks. I'm Keti, and here we have Mykhaylo, Kostya, and Jesse. So, guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good,
All
good,
good.
good.
Ready
Very
to talk about chess and chess teaching and everything we've got prepared.
Perfect. So, our first topic. Let's start from online chess Olympiad. So, who do you support? Do anybody had some favorites there, or not?
Yeah, supported South Africa mostly, but we didn't exactly bring home the points. I remember, who was it? We scored some points. We took some points away from some top teams, but I think one was because of a disconnection. So the internet was a huge issue, especially when it came down to the final.
Yeah, that's true.
Your final or the final?
The final when South Africa made it to the final, you know.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, the internet was like a huge thing. Who were the other teams in your bracket, Jesse?
We had Hungary, Spain, Netherlands.
Sounds like a good bracket. Yeah.
Ukraine.
That's tough.
Yes, we had Mykhaylo's team in the bracket. Yeah,
I wasn't there. That's not my fault.
I think our board one scored against your board one only because of the connection. So that was okay. Yeah, we took the win, but yeah, it's unfortunate because I mean when you DC, then you lose the game, and if you DC more than once, I think you get disqualified, and it's not really your fault.
Yeah, I was of course rooting for Ukraine. We actually beat China, so we scored two matches were a draw, and there was the Armageddon, where Kirill Shevchenko was playing. I forgot the name of his opponent, and he actually was supposed to win the game previously, and then we would win the match. But then it was a draw, and there was Armageddon, and he won the Armageddon, and we beat China, and then United States happened.
Oh no. What was the score against US? Yeah, we have everyone here. Oh my gosh.
Come on, what is your apology, Kostya, for beating you?
I still feel bad about the time the US beat Ukraine in like the real Olympiad, like the 3.5 half, where it was just enough for them to like get the bronze, but Ukraine had been doing like so well the whole tournament. It was kind of tragic as well. So I'm still sorry about that one too.
Come on, we're joking. That's sports, of course. That's
Yeah. Actually, Daniel Naroditsky said something really interesting. He said like on the Perpetual Chess podcast, I don't know if you guys have caught it, but he basically said like wanting to beat your opponent is the ultimate sign of respect. It shows that like you take them seriously enough that like you want to beat them. And I thought that's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, like trying your best against someone, putting your full effort is definitely like a show of respect.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Painful. It is painful, but that sounds like a truth to me. Yeah.
And Kati, who were you supporting in the Olympiad?
I was supporting, of course, Georgia, but they didn't make it long. So then my second favorite team was Poland, because that time I was in Poland at the chess tournament, and I was kind of part of it, and they were supporting Polish team, and they made quite good tournament and they got bronze medal, and
Whoa.
it was very nice to be there. Yeah.
I think they made a big deal in actual Olympiad last year. They were doing fantastic job, and they are becoming stronger every day, I think.
Shared fourth places, but they were the unluckiest team out of 4. They got 4th place. Yeah, they did amazing at the WIM Jesse Olympiad. 2 years ago already. It was 2 years ago.
Wow, 2018.
Yeah. And what about this shared championship, like shared champions. I don't even know how to say that. It's like it's not happening often in chess.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that would be too controversial to bring up or not. What is your opinion on it? The fact that there were two champions decided by the FIDE president.
Yeah, I think it's very positive thing. Like we have too many people happy. But it's something new for us. We don't know what thoughts we might have, right? It's something really unusual for chess players not to have a winner, but to have two winners.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's something unusual, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's, I don't know all the details. So what was the exact reason for the disconnect? Apparently it was not player's fault, right? It was some sort of bug that was not foreseen before the tournament has started. So you had to, like, extraordinary situations demand extraordinary measures. And I'm guessing that's what happened. I know that at least in United States, from what I'm watching on some shows that I'm watching, they always make fun of how can you have a draw, like American football, for example, and they compare it to European soccer. Like, draw? What the hell? Just play until you find the winner. And we're like 0-0. That's a great match. No goals were scored, but I enjoyed the 90-minute match. And they're like, how can you not have a winner? So for them, I would say, like, tie in the final is like ridiculous. The tie in one game is ridiculous for most US sports fans, I would say. But in a knockout tournament, that's unthinkable, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Did you?
Yeah, I think most fans like just want to see. They just want to see like the games replayed. Honestly, I think like if you just like ask the players, apparently the players weren't really consulted on what they were willing to do. Because some of the players, they have like an advantageous position or they're like low on time. There are like some factors, but players for the most part are willing to just replay the crucial games from the start. And I think fans like would probably just want to see the action end in like chess rather than a decision like made by like a judge. So it was unfortunate, but like, yeah, this whole thing has been weird, with COVID, playing online. It's like the first year this is happening and we're all scrambling. So of course there's going to be like these insane situations that no one knows how to deal with.
Yeah, I also have this kind of feeling that for the first time, if we're gonna have an online Olympiad, there will be written rules. Like now, it's very hard to judge anybody, right?
Let's call it a precedent, and after that, most of this stuff would be written in the regulations, and there would be less confusion. And I think that's one valuable lesson to take away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, what do you think?
I mean, no one could have at least anticipated the kind of, problems, because you can't disconnect OTB. I mean, you could probably fall asleep, but there's no disconnecting. So probably it should
No, there could be, in a way. 2014 Olympiad,
yeah?
in a way. People thought there was a terror attack threat and started running away from the playing hall, and they had to. I wasn't there. 2014 Tromsø Olympiad.
Yeah.
There was some yelling or some sound, and people thought it could be a terrorist act, and they started running. And I don't remember how they handled that, but there was a confusion like that even on actual tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Unforeseen situation. Yeah, it was fine. There was nothing was there, but people were scared and started running.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the worst thing, I think, and I don't want to change the vibe of the conversational topic right now, but I know some pretty bad things have happened during the round of the Olympiad. I think someone actually passed away, if I'm not
because
mistaken.
Of heart attack.
Heart attack. Yes. So a few deaths have happened at the Olympiad. So, chess is a very dangerous sport. You better watch out, guys. I know someone passed away in their hotel room, and then during the round, and his opponent actually resigned, like in honor of him, right? I think that was the story.
Nice. That is nice.
Yay, chess-based articles, But
all right,
let's
can we
talk
now
about
bring
people going crazy of how many strong players went nuts at the end of nuts is not a good way to put it. What is the good way to put it? Like people going crazy because of chess, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
lot of players, yeah, they struggle with their mental health.
Thank you. That's the proper way to say.
Bobby Fischer. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right,
chess is
can
a
we now
dangerous game,
take
please.
our lovely wooden chessboard back and analyze the most beautiful game which just happened and played at Online Chess Olympiad? This is Daniil Dvorny versus Alexei Shirov. And
Maybe
Alexei
I should turn
Shirov
the
actually
board.
got the prize of Gazprom.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful game. So let's once again check and analyze it.
Yeah, you're welcome to flick through the moves. Are you able to make the moves on the board?
Who you ask?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, sorry. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Just checking.
Well,
there we go.
yeah, I don't know who wants to show the game, but Shirov's a genius and has
always.
been for a while. And now it's like it's no different. still same old Shirov.
For me, it's shocking how he can breathe life into Slav, you know, into some positional stuff. Suddenly there's fire on the board, right? Out of nowhere, he can create fire out of nowhere. It's unbelievable.
Can we get that exact fire position where he made a magic on the board?
Yeah. That was this one.
Ooh.
Let's maybe see all the moves slowly.
Oh, sure.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty typical line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, very common theory with Queen B8 and all of that. Definitely nervous.
So
Still theory until here?
Until move 40, I think. No, I'm
I
just
think
kidding.
somewhere
I
around
don't
here,
know.
probably like Queen B8. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when the players left theory, but actually this was the first moment that I thought was really interesting. What did you think about this move, Mykhaylo? Queen G3.
It's like the queen is the worst defender and the worst piece to blockade anything, but apparently it's a good decision to stop G4 with the queen, you know? You can't think of a worse piece to do that job. Okay, the king, yes. Otherwise, anyone can kick the queen away. And yet it was a good decision, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, the queen played a lot of roles in this game, including decoy.
I don't think the point was to attack the pawn, actually. The point was to stop G4.
Oh.
I'm not sure. Okay, the pawn is hanging, but maybe I am willing to lose it, you know? Just open the G file and then throw H5. There could be a very dangerous attack.
Yeah, that queen was a doorstopper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like white goes Rook G1 and then like Rook C4.
Here was the fire starts, yeah.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's like, take it if you dare.
It's like Petrosian style.
Yeah, and just like in that game, you're not supposed to capture it, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here
that's
if
the
white
best
captures
move,
this
yeah.
one, like probably it's
No, I would take with the D pawn and then push B4, I think.
Oh, okay. Fair
And
enough.
then start rolling those pawns. I think that could be a better idea.
Yeah. With
Either
knight
way,
to 5
black
pawn.
gets a decent attack.
Right.
Seems to me.
So
F4. is a
F4.
good move. That's a weird. White decided to trap the queen, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But how can you trap the queen? I don't see a trap yet. Do you see how to win the queen? I don't see it yet. But that's the only move that makes sense. Like the only reason to play this move is to trap the queen.
Mm-hmm. So here, Rook C8. Okay, just follows up. Like nothing's going on. Queen D1. B4.
So the rook is hanging, the queen is trapped. It's all fine.
Okay, so just getting the last piece into the game. 92. Queen G4. And okay, here white goes knight C1.
Uh-huh.
The next
So I
move
guess
is
this is
the
a position
last
to talk
thing.
about.
Yeah, the next move is the last thing you would expect to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could just talk about like how do we find tactics at the board, you know, because no one told Shirov like he has a nice move here, you know.
Yeah.
He just had to like kick himself and figure it out on his own.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's exactly the situation when you don't have the position on the board at home when you have to find a tactic, because you have to find a tactic, but he sensed that there is something here and there can be some tactics here, and he made this happen on the board. So but what was actually what is the weakness here for white? Let's start with it here.
Yeah, I think the king is weak, right? So black's king is totally safe, and white's king is exposed in a sense. And you have to know a typical pattern here. The knight and the rook checkmate on the h file. Usually we see that knight e7 check, king goes to the corner, and then mate on the h file. That's usually the way to give. But I never seen this one on the queen side. So let's maybe play the move to see what. If you don't know this idea, there's zero chance you're gonna find it.
Yeah, I think White's main weakness here is that he's not Shirov. So.
So actually, it's quite a difficult position, because if queens get exchanged, white would have two bishops, right? White would have two bishops. There's no attack anymore, so black has to act right now. Knight to e4.
Beautiful.
Wow.
When
If
I
you haven't
checked this
seen the move,
position,
yeah.
I checked exact this position, and I thought that black made queen g4 as the final move. I didn't know the game.
Oh.
I just knew the position. I was like, whoa, this is crazy, queen g4. But then I found out about knight e4, and it's even more crazy to play like knight from f6 with defense the queen, and g4 to play on e4.
That's true, actually, Keti. I had the same thought when I saw the position first, because yeah, everyone just kind of, I think a lot of it just saw it on Twitter. And yeah, my first thought was like, oh, last move was queen f5 g4. And I'm like, okay, that's a cool trick. Like, you know, like typical deflection tactic, right? Like, yeah, nice checkmate. But yeah, actually 94 makes it like much more special. It's like much harder to find it in this way.
Yeah, but we're talking as if it's so natural, like knight to e4. So what's like if queen takes? The full queen is hanging, right? It's knight takes d2 check, correct? So king goes somewhere, let's say to a1. And what do you do next?
Who needs a queen?
I just ate the queen for a bishop, and now b3 is the move. And rook is coming to a4. And it's not the end of the line, I would say, right?
Is there something that still like can save white here?
Bishop b1, I would say, is a try. So rook a4 is coming. So if bishop takes the rook, oh, hold on, should have promoted the line, right? Knight e4, queen g4. Knight f4, queen g4 takes, king a1, b3. So if bishop takes, rook takes, white is what? Queen and rook for just two pieces, right?
Yeah.
And actually, we can remove the pieces on d7 and e7. Nobody cares about them anymore. The rook a4 is unstoppable. This is just beautiful.
Yeah. Look at these low lyrics on g1 and h1.
White is not even close to getting to black's king. But it's so, I still don't get it. Like there's bishop to b1 move. You have to see this one. Because you're the full queen, you're full queen down. Bishop to b1. What's the continuation? Rook a4. And then the other rook is coming? Is that the rook a4?
So I believe the idea is to throw in knight c5.
Could you not take on c1 first and then play rook c4?
But then the rook is not coming. I take rook c1.
I have third one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have to give a check. So if bishop here, then takes, right? Sorry, if bishop a2, rook takes c1, takes
C1, right?
And that's the mate. But what if what if knight goes to a2? Still not obvious. Seems like black is not attacking anymore. Now pawn takes. Knight b3 mate is coming. Bishop has to take. Okay, now at least there's perpetual for black. Knight b3, king b1, knight d2, king a1. But knight c5. This is just unbelievable. And if takes, rook takes c5, and then rook takes a2. This is
Like unstoppable.
This is beyond my, like, if I push the b pawn, it's bishop f6 mate.
Whoa.
This is just, yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, question. I'm wondering if maybe would it also work if black just played knight c5 in this position?
Quiet move knight c5 first.
Yeah, then white is taking.
Hold on, here takes.
If we take on a2, bishop c2, that's the difference. So you gotta take on a2
because
first.
bishop c2 attacking the rook and stopping.
Yeah.
Knight b3 mate. Oh, okay. Yeah, captures first. Just take that knight and then.
It also simplifies the position for you to calculate. So it's so hard to calculate with all these pieces on the board, right?
Yeah, but you have to see knight c5.
Yeah. How many moves he calculated actually here from knight e4?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 moves.
Whoa.
My guess is that he may have seen a perpetual, and so, for example, if I would see a perpetual, I would still go for it because, and then maybe I have something else. And
it's actually very good advice to take. Like in this kind of positions, maybe there is something that you cannot calculate, but yeah, let's try. Why not? Draw is also a result, right? And not to be afraid of to sacrifice queen and make all this crazy stuff on the board. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how did the game end? So we went into sideline of a sideline of a sideline, right? So which must have been calculated. There's just, you have to, it's not like he just gave away the queen. No, he definitely must have. Bishop b1 is a move that you have to see, and you have to see the continuation.
Yeah.
So on knight e4, white ended up going bishop e2, so not taking the sacrifice. Black played queen f5, bishop d3, knight f6, and then tragically, I would say white kind of blunders into the same exact trick with g4, allowing knight takes g4, rook takes g4, and now of course queen takes g4.
Much worse. Okay, but there's no knight on d7 anymore. So what's the difference? The back rank, the problem, yeah?
Yeah, now there's no knight on d7, no rook on g1.
But there's no rook on g1, which is kind of important.
Yeah, it's also very important because that knight might be hanging on c1.
Yeah, and exactly how game ended.
Right away.
With the mate coming with the pawn. Yeah. Really a shame he didn't allow the final position. I mean,
yeah.
Really?
What are you doing?
Where he resigned.
Rook takes c1.
Yeah. I think this is Nigel's short speciality, yeah, to let his opponent checkmate him if he enjoyed the combination.
I think so.
Next time,
salty.
Next time when I receive a beautiful checkmate, I'm gonna let that happen. Hopefully that would be never. Hopefully that would be never.
A fact.
Yeah, I think it should be kind of like a sportsmanship thing. Like if your opponent is like mating you, then you just allow the mate. Not like you're down a rook, you play until checkmate. That's annoying. Don't do that. But yeah, if it's like, especially if it's a nice mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought this way. Like when I stated I have already losing position and it's obvious that you're gonna see it. I just resign, and I think that's the polite way to end the game. But after seeing these beautiful checkmates, I think it's but when I want to mate my opponent, I always want not to resign. Like I want him to let me do it. Yeah. Next time
and sometimes I just forget.
my opponent.
Sometimes I just forget that just letting the checkmate. So you're usually disappointed, right? You don't think about something beyond the game itself, and then you're like, oh, why didn't I? Yeah, that's too bad. So
and if your opponent resigns, just be like, no, make a move.
I don't accept your resignation.
No, make a move.
Yeah.
There's some story about back in the day, and I'm guessing nowadays as well, some people buy norms. So let's talk about that too. That's kind of a controversial topic too.
Norms? Do you go to Craigslist and just type in GM norm or something?
No. For example, it's a last round, and if you win, you get a norm or a title, and your opponent can even approach you and say, like maybe we can have an agreement or something. There are some even tournaments organized just specifically for one player.
Oh.
Anyway, but the story that you mentioned, I cannot accept your resignation, is I don't remember the names at all, but the story goes like this. So a final round of closed tournament, whatever GM norm I think it was, and the player needs a win, and his opponent is anticipating an offer. So because he's only thinking about I'm gonna earn some money, I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna earn some money. And that guy who needs a win is not approaching at all. He has no interest in that. But he doesn't realize that the guy cannot even think that it is possible to just play and try to win without even trying to organize the win. So they play, and the player who needs a win doesn't play a very good game. He ends up in a worse position. The position is getting worse and worse. And the other player is thinking that, my price is getting higher now. If I have to lose such a good position, maybe my income would be higher now. And then so it's getting better and better. Now he has a winning position, and his opponent just stops the clock and resign. And he says, I cannot accept your resignation. We can still make a deal. That will actually happen. We can still make a deal.
Oh my gosh.
It really happened on the chess
Yes,
world?
it really happened. Yes,
That's
it really
so
happened
funny.
in chess world.
Wow.
I can Google the names, but that's a true story. We can still make a deal.
Wow. So you can really exchange your ELO for money. That's interesting. Okay. Wow.
So how brave is he to do this at the chess tournament?
No, it was long time ago, but it was considered normal in that specific area or tournament. I don't know, but that's a true story. Cannot accept your resignation.
Wow.
Funny. Do we have other tactic played in at online chess tournament? Maybe we can also show that and discuss a little bit.
Yeah, is that Kostya? We're going to check out your game.
Yeah, I just found a cool combination. I just got it off ChessBase. There were top 10 games from the Olympiad, and I was like, okay, I'll look through this. And so this is the game between two GMs, Antonius Pavlidis and Lubomir Fatashnik. And actually, it's not exactly the critical moment, but I'll put it up for people to solve once we get there. But I just thought it was an instructive moment because we're all we're coaches, right? And we're trying to teach people how to kind of make smart decisions. Here, it seems like a very messy position, but White has some initiative and plays this move, Bishop E4, which, as you guys will notice, or later if you check the game yourselves, is not the top engine move, but to me it looks like a very, very strong and logical move because he trades off Black's light squared bishop, and on the previous move, had White gone, let's say, pawn takes G6, which also looks very natural, opening up the rook. Black gets bishop takes G6 and is defending everything on the light squares. So white anticipates this, trades off important
Honestly,
light squared
sorry to
defender.
interrupt you,
Yeah.
but honestly, I would not play this bishop e4 because I would be scared of leaving this rook on f1, not protected, and then leaving the king, so alone on h1.
No, I'm with you. Bishop e4 looks like a very risky move when you have a bishop on g2.
Yeah.
That's why I found it instructive, just because it's not a move a lot of us would make, just on positional grounds, maybe. But it turns out really well. Black goes bishop takes e4, knight takes e4. Now white is again threatening f takes g6 along with knight g5. So black tried maybe only defends queen c8. And now it's white to play. So I'll leave it up for the audience to solve. Try to find the winning line here.
Oh my gosh, this is one of the contenders for the Brilliancy Prize, no?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing this game. Yeah, I remember something.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. No spoilers. Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say anything.
I don't know it.
We wouldn't show it if it was not beautiful, right?
Yeah. Spoiler alert, it was actually my game. No, it wasn't.
That'd be crazy. That'd be amazing.
I wish. No, I had some decent games.
Mykhaylo, what's your, do you have like an immortal game or like an immortal combination you always think of that you've played?
Myself, I have some really good games, but so that my immortal one, that's a good question. If I had to pick one. I have, it's not very beautiful, but the highest rated opponent I have beaten over the board in classical chess was Vugar Gashemov in 2010, 10 years ago, and he was 2760 or something, number 6 or 5 in the world. And I won with black, and it was a very interesting story behind it. And there was a nice combination, but it was not like a beautiful one. And I noticed that in many of my games, I am not giving a checkmate. I'm the one receiving it, and I don't like where this is going. So I'm quite good in dynamic chess, so just playing actively with my pieces, but I hardly have any combination that ends in a checkmate. Like 2 years ago, I had a very nice game when I sacrificed material for the attack, exchange, and then just exchange and 1 or 2 pawns down, and I had complete domination in the position, and I was attacking the king, and it ended up in a beautiful combination, but it was not perfect. So it was, yeah, if I cannot pick one game. It's like each one has some sort of a flaw. I have many beautiful instructive games, but that ends in a checkmate, no, fortunately not.
And Keti, what about you? Do you have a favorite game of your own?
It's actually funny, sorry, because today one of my friends, probably many knows him, it's Grandmaster from India, Sahaj Grover, sent me a photo of our game, which happened in 2006, and we were small kids. He's smaller, and we were playing, and it happened. I was with black pieces, he was with white, and we played Rouser. I played Rouser, and he played it, and it ended like you won the game. It was very bad memory for me. And then we played second game, I think like 4 years ago. Again, I was with black, he was with white. He had like very big advantage, and then I found crazy queen sacrifice on b3. Like I just played queen b3. I didn't even took a pawn, just queen b3. It was crazy sacrifice. But yeah, we were talking about this. It was so funny, and I have to check in my games if I have it. I hope I saved it.
Yeah.
But it was something that I had in my mind, but it's just a coincidence that we just talk about this today in the morning.
That's cool.
What about you, Jesse? What's your immortal game?
Ooh. It was back in the 1800s. I'm just kidding. I'm not a vampire. In 2014, I played in the World Youth, and I have a habit of either having a very good first game or really bad first game, and this one was a good one. World Youth played in Durban, South Africa, and my first round opponent was a player from India. She was rated above 500 points ELO above me. I was 1600 and she was 2100, so that was really cool. And I played the Scotch Gambit against her, and that's probably really, really risky with white, and somehow she didn't know the line that I played, and I ended up sacrificing just about all my pieces for the attack, and it was very enjoyable. I can't say the same for the rest of the tournament, but that one will be etched in my memory forever. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. At least I have that.
Kostya,
we're
do you
getting-
have,
Yeah.
do you
Kostya.
have some game like that?
Yeah. I have one game that I consider like my immortal game, because I felt like I came up with a lot of like tactics, and it was like a long game, but like the tactical sequence was like maybe 15-20 moves, and I had to like continually like first it was like I was willing to sacrifice a pawn, then like exchange, and like piece, then I was like down a rook at some point, but like the attack was like objectively very correct, which was important to me. But the game was special because my opponent was a kind of an uncomfortable player for me, who would like always steer the game into very close positions, and he really loved like close positions. With black, he would play the French and like the old Benoni, and just slowly outplay me every time. So, and this game I was playing black, and I'm like, okay, whatever happens, I'm gonna open the position. And yeah, I felt like I played like a Mickey Tall.
You make it sound like a lot of players had your number there, Kostya. Because I remember last time you were saying about the whole psychological factor. Even if you're better than some players, just have this psychological hold on you. So
Yeah.
was it the same one?
No, different guy.
Oh no.
But, you know, I overcame it, right? That's kind of.
That's good. Yeah.
Interesting. You always talk about psychology in chess. That's very interesting too. Have you ever played poker, Kostya?
I have. Yeah, I like poker.
Okay. Were you successful? Because there's lots of psychology there as well, right?
No, I never played like that much, but mainly just because I felt like it would just take too much time to like take it seriously, and I've never really loved the idea of like gambling, especially against people who like maybe aren't super financially responsible.
Yeah.
And then like they go to the casino. So I just didn't like that whole environment whatsoever. But I love the game of poker. It's a really cool game. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wondered what percentage of luck is involved in poker. 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 Yeah.
Very, very little. I would say.
Luck.
Very little, yeah. Very little.
But
luck,
isn't
yes.
are you being
The higher you
sarcastic?
go, the no. Okay, maybe in the low levels, yes, but otherwise it's mathematics. And I have a friend who played professionally poker. He got, I wouldn't say he got rich, but he was quite successful. And he said that he had like, you have to online poker. I'm not saying over the, I have no idea what's going on over the actual table, but in online poker, there's lots of calculation required. So you have all these stats on each player. You have 5 to 10 different numbers, which represent different situations in each part of the game. And you have to quickly calculate the probabilities given the hand that you know, given the statistics that your opponent has. So you have to like do it very quickly in your mind. And sometimes you can just play without your cards, just by those numbers.
Oh.
It may not matter what cards do you have. You can beat a player just by their statistics. So for example, you have the statistics that usually 90% he drops the hand if you do this. before you open your before the cards are even open yet in the beginning, and you can just using those odds, whatever you have doesn't matter. You have the stats and you follow the stats, and you can just win by doing that. So there's lots of math there.
Yeah,
You
that's
couldn't
crazy.
do that
And psychology.
I had
Yeah.
no idea. I thought it was all about
Me neither.
the hand you're being dealt. I thought the cards obviously speak.
No, there are some stats, you know. You know that if he makes a bet before any cards are revealed, he usually drops the bet if you overbet him in like 90% of cases. So you just always overbet him. And if he just follows, you just, that's it, I'm done, you know. So, but in 90%, you would take his bet. And in that 10%, you just lose whatever you put on the table, and that's it. You do nothing. And this is a winning strategy because you know that these are his odds. And the next level is that you know that he knows your odds. And like, it's ridiculous. Lots of psychology and mathematics. You know that he seizes your stats. You're aware of your stats, and he's doing that. And you have to hold on. Is he doing that because his cards are good, or he's doing because of my? So this is like really deep stuff.
But in chess, I think luck is very important. It played a great part in my chess career, and I think it's bigger percentage that in poker. As you explained, I have no idea about luck in poker.
Me neither. Clearly, I thought that.
So how important is to be lucky at chess game, and where this luck comes from?
Yeah, I think you deserve that luck. It's not like, if you know your opponent, the problems of your opponent, if you're pushing, and your opponent collapses, a lot of people would say, oh, it's a one move blunder. No, it isn't. You push the whole game and finally your opponent collapsed. But if you just look through with Stockfish or whatever, oh, it was just one mistake. May not have been the case. Maybe you've done some work to deserve. They say that, I think Karyakin is he always gets lucky when defending. He can save some really bad positions, or at least a few years back, Minister of Defense, that was his title, I think. And people, oh, he got lucky. No, he didn't. He was just very good at defending, seeking all the chances, and finally the opponent makes a mistake and he can secure the game.
Yeah. Luck
I remember when we had chess camps, it was usually before European Youth and World Youth Championship. We were just talking. And one of our friends said like, oh, she's very lucky. She's just lucky, like she's winning games because of her luck. And then our coach, he's a very smart person, said that it's just not comes like this, you know, luck come here. She works hard and then she tries at the chess game, and she deserves this luck, and that's it. And there was something that I remembered, and I always had in my head, that she worked and then she fight it until the last moment. It actually was true. Like when it was so abused position that her opponent was just, you know, playing a4, a5, a6, a7, and then queen. It was so simple. She was still playing, and once her opponent did not queen and offered a draw in just very winning position. I'm talking about the beginning level of chess. I think it was some psychological issue too, that the opponent thought she was very strong and she just offered a draw. It was also a result for her, and that's something that I always have in my mind, that people actually work hard to be lucky and fight hard to be lucky.
I can say the opposite story maybe about being unlucky.
Yeah, please.
So I had this for many years. I was let's say you play a game and then you blunder, right? Then you blundered something relatively simple.
Normal Saturday.
I'm talking about classical long chess, and I would like, or I played a bad game, and I would say, oh, it happens, with two more letters before it. So that was what you're gonna do, you know, everybody's blundering. So but then at some point when I grew up a little bit, I saw that, hold on a second, I didn't get enough sleep that night because I did something fun in the afternoon or evening, you know. I didn't do my tactics. I didn't prepare so much. I wasn't too focused over the game. So it's always easy to say, oh, it's a bad day at the office. It is much better to ask yourself, okay, what did I do wrong so that this happened? It was not supposed to happen. And you say, okay, I should get my sleep. I should do some tactics. I should be more focused. And then you do your luck. You make your luck so that you are unlucky much less than if you. And I was always like, oh, it happens. Could have happened to anyone. And it was happening very often. And it's not a proper way to deal with the problem. First, you try to do whatever you can. And then if it still happens, then you say, okay, I did my best. But if you cannot say I did my best, then you cannot say, oh, it was an unlucky day. Try to fix something.
Yeah. You're talking about taking responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's really powerful, especially in chess. I mean, people, I think, waste a lot of mental energy thinking about things that they have no control over. For example, online cheaters. Like, you have no control if the person on the other side is cheating, but if you drive yourself crazy for it, you won't enjoy the game.
Exactly.
Or like what your rating should be. Like, ultimately, that's not really up to you. You know, sometimes you just run into opponents that are underrated or are like have a weird style and just kind of outplay you. And the rating doesn't necessarily match your strength. It just matches your results. And your results are what they are for whatever reason. What you can control is now what you do forward, like your actions, like how you take care of your brain and your body and your chest, and everything Mykhaylo was saying, I think is, totally spot on.
Oh. Actually, I was always aiming for 2600 ELO, and I was 2550, 2590, 25. So I was always like, for me, 2600, I was always, oh my God, I want 2600 ELO. And then I got 2600 ELO when I completely forgot about my rating. When I stopped caring about it, it revealed so much energy that I put into work and actually working on chess. Like, oh my God, what do I do to reach that number? No, you just take all that time and effort that you think about thinking, how can I get there? I want that 20, just focus on what you're doing right now. And suddenly I was 20, and I remember this feeling because I was commentating the World Teams 2013, and I checked my rating and I'm 2608, and I'm like, how did that happen? I didn't follow it too closely. And then I was like, oh, I'm already 2600, and then 2620, 2640, and I was like, what's going on? You know, the moment I forgot about thinking about the number and the rating, exactly as Kostya is saying, I had no control over my rating. I had control over what I was doing and where I was investing my time and energy. Yeah, responsibility.
That's cool.
Okay, can we learn the answer in this position? Because we have two moves suggested. One is queen takes f7. Another move is rook a8. This looks very beautiful.
Yeah, two beautiful moves. Unfortunately, queen takes f7, a very thematic idea because you get this like nice double check. White simply just doesn't get the mate here. It's just simply not enough of an attack. Black can take the pawn. I think Black can also go king g8 and be safe and basically surviving. Yeah, the other idea I saw suggested rook a8, very strong. Nice job, guys. And actually, I just saw on the CoChess YouTube channel that Jesse was doing a bunch of videos on tactics, which looked great. And she had one on deflection, which I'm sure would be instructive to everyone. And this, to me, I would call this like a double deflection, because you are deflecting the knight on b6 away from defending the queen on c8. And we're also taking the queen away from wanting to trade off our queen, with the point being now we can go f takes g6 and not having to worry about queen takes e6 intermezzo. Then someone was asking, okay, what will happen after h takes g6? And well,
good question.
Yeah, it's a good question, right? To figure out how to like win this one. The way I think chosen in the game, or I'm not sure if Black had already resigned, but it was to take with the queen forcing the king over to the h file, and then the classic rook lift, rook f3, heading to h3, and that was the end of the game.
Whole deadlift right there.
The question was, can you take with the rook on f7? No, you cannot.
Queen takes d5.
Queen takes d5 or rook e4 is even worse, I think. Rook takes f7. Queen takes d5, yes, but rook takes e4. And then you have, if you take, wait a second, if you take the rook, you lose the rook and you have to take on g7 first. And then you take, and now queen d5. And that's a win for black.
Oof.
Yeah, so no, queen checks first. I would say, yeah, if you can give a check, that should be your priority. And then you figure out what to do next. Moves like rook f7 give lots of possibilities for your opponent because you don't really have an immediate threat, right? Hold on a second. After rook takes f7, if it's white to move, it's okay, queen g6 is the threat, right? But there's no too dangerous. Okay, and rook f3 check. Okay, there are
it's the
checks
same
coming.
rook f3, rook h.
Yeah.
But if that's what you're trying to do, just take with the
yeah. Well, why would you delay that gratification? Yeah.
Right.
Can I take instead of h takes g6? Instead of that, can I take queen d5?
That's a good question.
Yeah, right here.
Queen takes d5. Queen takes d5. Pawn takes, king has to go to f8, and somehow that king. We talked about who's the worst blockader, piece to blockade a pawn. We talked about queen, right? But the king is even worse. And the queen. It's horrible. Right? So pawn takes, king has to go here.
I would go maybe bishop h6.
I thinking take on
g5?
I was thinking take on d5 and knight g5, but then you cover the f file and take my pawn on f6.
Knight f6, yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Bishop h6 is amazing. Oh my, you had to see it before you play rook a8.
Is that really the only move here? Oh wow.
Apparently so. What else can you do? If you take the queen, I thought takes the queen and knight g5.
Yeah.
But it's takes the queen, knight takes, knight g5. There are two threats, and the pawn on f7 seems well protected, but it's a misleading thought, like knight goes or bishop goes, and if knight moves, the pawn is lost. So it's only bishop h6. Wow.
Beautiful.
Only, and if queen takes, it's takes, and now promotion. Now king g6, and now.
This is where I usually just stop calculating. I'm like, okay, there'll be something. Is that a good strategy or?
Yeah, I would see that I have a perpetual queen e8, queen f8. That's what we talked about with Shirov, right? I would see that I have a check, king goes back, and I have a check. In the worst case scenario, I have a draw, but it looks that king on g6 is gonna be lost somehow.
Yeah, I think chess intuition is just so important. It's not something you can just read in a book and pick up. Maybe that just comes with experience. Unless, of course, there is a chess book on intuition. In which case, where can I get it?
I need that too.
Yeah,
for me, it would be very hard to go without a very, very long calculation, even at that position after king g6. Like, my knight is hanging out, thinking like, I think I'm a pawn down or something. I always need to see the final position.
Are you a perfectionist, Keti? Maybe that's the problem. Let's have a psychological session right now.
Blessing and a curse.
I don't know. I think I'm more like, I just need a guarantee that it will be a win, or I will just calculate some other way. From the beginning. I'm talking about at the position when we're starting, right? It's rook a8. It's very long, and we cannot maybe sometimes see it clearly. It's just complicated.
Yeah. Now we know with Shirov, as long as there's a perpetual at the end, it's fine. Just go for it.
Yeah.
That's a good advice. Actually, I will always go for it.
And it looks quite promising. So not only if you see perpetual, if you see some ideas, like maybe he have seen perpetual and then he thought maybe I have knight c5 at some moment, And here the idea is the knight can go to g3 at some moment, right, and join the attack. Maybe that's the way to go. knight g3. There is check, queen d5, but maybe you can hide with the king on knight g3 and knight is coming to the attack. That could be an idea, but you don't have to calculate it. You see that you have a perpetual, and that would be good enough for me. Sometimes you just have to do a move that is good enough. Not the best, but good enough.
Here in the chat, we have a question
Okay.
about can I really grow without a coach? Before you answer, I should share my personal opinion about that. When I had a personal coach, I had really comfortable time and I had lots of medals. And the moment I started to preparing a game by myself, it did not went well. That's my personal experience about having a coach. So what you guys think about this?
Jesse?
Oh,
What do you
yeah,
think
I
about
definitely think it helps, especially with the discipline part. Like, it's okay. You can grow as a player without a coach, but probably at a slower pace if you weren't maybe setting aside a study schedule. But if you have a coach, of course, they have material that they can issue you, guidance, and of course, just their expertise in identifying your problem areas and so on. I almost made a bad joke, but I'm gonna keep it to myself. Yeah. What about you, Kostya? What do you think?
I think coaching is just kind of like the most, I think the only drawback is just the cost. I think it's like the most effective, most expensive form of training out there. You can definitely get to a really high level without a private coach. But I think a coach does make it a lot easier for people and kind of shows them the way. But I'm talking about the majority of players. I think for kids specifically, they do need coaching, I think, to really improve in many cases. It's very hard for a kid to just sit on their own and like read and like not have someone they can ask questions. And so I think for kids, then the role of a coach becomes much more important. But if you're like a motivated teenager or like adult, I think all the info is basically out there for you if you're self-motivated. But you might struggle a little bit. A coach kind of breaks it down for you, shows you your weaknesses, your biases, what you're missing, where you're strong at, what you should focus on, all the stuff that would be kind of harder to figure out on your own.
Yeah, I would also like to add that when you can work in the wrong direction if you don't hear anybody else's thoughts, or you don't see your problems very often. Sometimes people, like from the side, you can see so much more. Why aren't you doing this? And you're like, of course, why I didn't see it? Because you were alone and you're in your box and you don't see what you're doing wrong. So outside expert opinion is always good. Secondly, you would have a person that is really rooting for you and wishing you the best, and you're not alone in that journey anymore. And that's like a huge psychological bonus, I would say. Where you know that you're not alone. You have a person that will help you, will listen to you, will do his best. You're not alone. I cannot stress enough how good it is to know that you're not alone in that fight. And secondly, even several lessons with a good coach can give you proper guidance, so that you know, okay, these are my weaknesses, as you all pointing out. The coach can really tell you where you're doing it wrong and where are your weaknesses and how to fix them. And then he could give you directions like do this, do that, do that. And this is how you analyze your games. This is how you study tactics. This is what you do for positional play, end games, etc., etc. And then you can go solo. That's like taking a coach in a gym, you know, like at least one or two lessons to know what is good, what is the proper way to lift stuff, or take a coach for swimming. You know, you can try to swim on your own, but if you start in the wrong way, you're going to be swimming not in a proper way at all. But even a few lessons with a coach can just give you a correct direction, and then you can say, thank you, I'm on my own now. Thank you so much. So yes, visit CoChess for coaches. CoChess.com. Yeah. Some product placement here. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very well put. Yeah. Also keeps your insanity at bay. I remember, I mean, in the beginning when you're working with a coach, it's all dandy. You sit, you absorb, you listen, but at some point you reach the part of the relationship with your coach where you just kind of start fighting with them and arguing with certain lines. Maybe you're analyzing a game and you're like, no, but here, and you said this and this. So it's good to have someone to kind of discuss with as well, and you're not alone, like you said. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
I wanted to say something else, but I forgot. I'll come back to it.
We'll circle.
All right, we have this banter cup happening here. Can we talk about this topic?
Oof, I am so excited to see this clip. Oh. Yeah, so Mykhaylo, you played against Firoza. How do you pronounce his name?
Not 100% sure. Firuza or Firuzya. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Alireza. Alireza he's the only one Alireza out there. That's the proper pronunciation, Alireza. So
yeah, you played against him in it was this year on the 28th of February. You played against Petrosian in the Banter Blitz Cup, and you made some comments during the game, and we're going to check out the clip as well. I hope you guys have the stream open so that we can all watch it at the same time. So consider this our first Chess Talk React video. You'll be seeing some original content right here. Okay, so shall I put the clip on?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be watching the clip. I'm going to press play. Hopefully it'll be at the right volume. We're just jumping straight into it.
Exactly as I suspected. Okay, what are my chances after rook c8, bishop moves back, takes... Do I have knight e5 ideas? Is that dangerous? Knight e5, at least for blitz, that should be enough. Queen d5. Don't I have a fork or something? Let's say takes. Let's say fork. Rook d8. Oh my god. Oh, I blundered bishop e7. It's bad. Check rook d8, bishop f8. Should I let him give me mate? Rook d7, rook c8, bishop f8, bishop f8, rook d5 and mate. It's very hard. If I take on c1, it takes my rook and promotes. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna let him checkmate me. There you go. Still not a checkmate. Okay. I need some.
All right.
Brutal.
That's not the game I wanted to talk about.
This was the timestamp of the game we're going to discuss. Oh my goodness.
Okay. I actually forgot that I liked the mate, so I let it happen. So
yeah, that was very honorable of you.
Score to my. It's not the most beautiful checkmate, but yeah, I blundered it, so I give it. Let him checkmate at me. That's
unlucky.
No, he's really good. He's just really good in blitz. Should I tell what is a Banter Blitz for our viewers? What is that? And that's it's okay.
Yeah. What was it like playing Firoza?
It was very hard, of course, because he went on to beat Carlsen. If I knew that in advance, maybe I would have relaxed a little bit. But I didn't like the fact that we had no increment. And I recently checked again our game. So the score, he beat me like 9-2 or something. So you were supposed first one to score 8.5, wins the knockout, and then proceeds like in a World Cup, but a Blitz World Cup basically. And so you play a match out of best of 16. games. 3+0, no increment. There's a whole 3 knockout that he eventually won with Magnus Carlsen in the final, as I think most of our viewers have seen. So, and he beat me like 9-2. That looked like a terrible score. But then I checked. I had several winning positions, and I just lost because there was no increment, and I'm not so good playing without. And you can see it in the last game with Carlsen. So they had this half fraction of a second per move, and he just outplayed Magnus Carlsen in that specific area. So, but there were several games where if we both had increments, the score wouldn't be so horrible. Let's put it this way. So I had a completely winning positions, but due to lack of time, I just lost. So this time, the Banter Blitz 2020, which is in progress right now. So that one was 128 or a little more players and the regular knockout. That's it. There's a 3, there's a knockout, and in the final turned out to be Alireza versus Magnus. So yeah, like when we say Magnus, we know who we're talking about. When we say Gary, we know who we're talking about, right? So let's say like Alireza, exactly, Levon and Hikaru and us, so first name basis, right? So this year they made it slightly different. So there would be 8 players can qualify to the super final, where already Magnus Carlsen, Timur Rajabov, Maxim Vashyalagraf, and I forgot number 4. So 8 top players and 8 people who qualify from 8 groups. Basically, you have to win your group out of 8 grandmasters or players. 8 people, knockout 3 days. First day knockout, then you go to semi-final and final of your group. And the winner of the group goes to immediately the superstar tournament. So you have to win 3 matches. I'm starting on Thursday. But what I love about it, 3+2 this time. 3+2 second increment. So if
for you.
Well, I checked my games with Alireza, and there were several games where I completely outplayed him on understanding of chess. But when it came to tactics, it's just we're on different levels, basically. But when it came to positional chess or understanding of pawn structures, the moment the position was closed, I was doing very fine, until the position opened up, and that was it.
Yeah, I saw this endgame. Rook endgame was very nice. I think.
Okay, he blundered a pawn, but then I converted it quite.
Realization.
But there was another game. I want to show another game that I actually won. It's just I would be very happy to have that game in classical chess, actually.
One question: how a chess player can get in this Banter Cup? Like how we can get there?
It's too late now. It's already in progress. So although I'm not sure, they are not revealing now the group C is playing, and there are A, B, C, D, F, G, H, 8 groups, and they don't. So I'm in group E, and I don't know my opponents yet, and I'm playing on Thursday. Maybe that's the point, or maybe they are still filling in the slots. It said that you either pay €300 fee, and then they still have to, of course, do I forgot the main point of this. It's not just people playing Blitz. It's that you're streaming it and you're commentating your decisions and you talk into the camera, and that's why it's interesting. You can watch all kinds of Blitz, but when 2 players explain their what they are thinking, what they blundered, what they were doing, why, it's very instructive and fun to watch. So that's like the whole point of the tournament. And so it was a €300 fee, but I don't think everyone could, what if too many people want it? I'm not sure what was the procedure.
So the prerequisite, sorry, Mykhaylo, the prerequisite of participating in the Banter Blitz Cup is that you need to be good at banter, probably.
Yeah, apparently, yes. And you could have, so for example, I applied for, there's special conditions for GMs. And after Banter Blitz is over, I would be doing a lecture for Chess24 in return, let's put it this way. So that was the bargain. So I'm playing on Thursday and 3+2, and that wouldn't be best of 16 because it would be way too long. I think it's best of 10, maybe. The first one to score 5.5. I'll need to check, but Yes, so less games because of 2-second increment. And knockout one day, knockout the second day, and the one who wins all the matches in 3 days qualifies. I think Sam Shanklin qualified already, and I forgot who else. I didn't follow it too closely. When I see my group, I start preparing. But for now,
Nice.
it's a secret.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's only 64 people, so it would be really strong grandmasters in each group. So the chances are very, very little. But if you win 3 matches, you're immediately playing Magnus Carlsen, which is awesome.
And what is the prize in
Um,
tournament?
The first prize is the winner gets 12,000 euros, I think. And I think the knockout continues in that group of 8, but I didn't look it up too closely. When I get there, I'll look it up. If you get there, it's like 750 euros minimum price, and the winner gets, 12,000. The second prize is half of that, 6,000, then 3,000, then 1,500, and then 750 on each stage. So half of the players get 750, and then half of the remaining half, etc. So it's United States style, where the first price is very high, the second one is twice lower, and the third one is 4 times lower, and it's like the next is close to nothing. So the winner takes it all. That's the motto of the tournament.
Is it like that, Kostya?
I mean, a little bit. We have a lot of like class tournaments, yeah, and it'll be like first place under 1,400, $4,000. Second place 2,000, 1,000, and then it goes down. But we'll often have a lot of ties. I think at the top, you get like 5 out of 6, 5.5, 4.5,
and then you share.
Yeah, and then you end up getting like $33. Like, because we split prizes in the US, whereas in Europe, I think they do a lot of like tie breaks. Here, if you score the same number of points as someone else, you just split the prize.
You don't care about the tie break, yeah?
Yeah, I think actually that was always strange to me, because that kind of does seem like luck. Like what if your tiebreak score is better because your opponents had some lucky wins like later on, and then you just happen, I don't know. Well, I was a beneficiary. I placed 6th once in the Reykjavik Open, which is crazy because it was like the 40th seed or something, maybe much more actually. But the reason that happened was because their tiebreak system is based on number of wins. And because I had kind of been doing like the roller coaster, I wasn't even having that great of a tournament, but I had like 7 wins and 3 losses or something. And everyone else in my score group had a bunch of draws because they're like playing GMs the whole tournament, and I'm playing like, so I ended up getting 6th place. And I think they share the prizes there in Reykjavik, but like officially, like I was ahead of everyone by kind of like a weird tiebreak because my performance was much worse.
Yeah, we actually had these discussions with other grandmasters. What is the fair tiebreak for an open tournament? I think number of wins is ridiculous because you can literally say the same. It's its number of losses. Right? It's the same tiebreak, number of wins or number of losses. You had 3 losses. You had the most losses of all the other players. That's why you get the 6th place, right? So number of wins seems logical, but when you put it in the number of losses, that sounds ridiculous. But that's the exact same tiebreak. So, and it doesn't make sense. Yeah, you can lose the first 2 games, and then you don't play against any strong players almost till the end. Then you win 1 or 2 games, and you're there. You're the winner of the tournament. So number of wins, I don't like it. I don't like the progress. Because when they are not using it anymore. We were thinking that Buchholz is the fair one, but it's not very fair. I was thinking performance seems like a good one, where they basically it's average rating of your opponents. That's very fair. And then we came up with what is more fair than performance is because, for example, a player may have a fantastic tournament, but low rating, and you lost to that player. And he ended up beating everybody else. So then we thought that maybe the most fair would be to average performance of your opponents, not average rating of your opponents, but average performance, how they performed exactly in this tournament, not the histories, the numbers they have, how they played in this tournament, and then average that out, and that would be as fair as you can get. So it takes into account how player played this tournament, and so that's the best I can give. But Buchholz is pretty good, but performance is better.
Funny the faces of three of us when you're talking about these math things that you're so happy to speak, and we're like,
yeah, I love math. Yes, I am. I'm a geek. Classic.
No, I
geek,
found
yes.
it. I found it interesting, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. No, I was just thinking what they do at the Olympiad, because I mean they also do some kind of tiebreak with performance rating and so on. Because you'll find that at the Olympiad, maybe some teams will be performing poorly as a team, but one member will be doing so well, and then working out the board prize, what really happens. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure about board prices, but in the Olympiad, I think they made some changes because they had this system that they would, let's say if you win a match 4-0, you get 4 times the number of match points your team has. So you can play very poorly, and then you win several matches 4-0, and your tiebreak is the best in the tournament. But you didn't play good teams, you just beat them badly. So you can win, you can play the whole tournament beating minimally 2.5, 1.5, and then you play like 1 draw or something, and the other team drew the first match and then won all the other matches like quite confidently, and then you're not the winner, even though you were clearly playing all the strongest teams. So this multiplying the score with which you beat the team by their team number, it's like you cannot make, like any win at the end can change the whole setting, and I don't find it very fair. Because you just win the last match 4-0 because you play some much weaker team, and suddenly you're the best in the tournament, even though the whole history is erased if you win 4-0 at the end.
Yeah, it's very volatile. I think the last 2 Olympiads have been decided not on the top boards, but on the tie breaks. Like I remember when the US won in 2018 or 2016, right? 2016. Ukraine was also having an amazing tournament. Another heartbreak of the US over.
Oh my gosh, I was there in the final round as well. I mean, the manager of the US team was running around with this little piece of paper doing the math, being like, wait, you did a draw here. No, wait. And he was obviously taking into account all the other games that were going on. And I mean, it was just crazy. So many teams could win.
So yeah, so to like an American, the idea that the finale can be decided on like board 42, like Uruguay versus Hungary or something, like
wait, what?
like a game between like 2 random players, like no disrespect, but like should be decided on the boards themselves and not on like these tie breaks.
So I didn't follow it too closely, but indeed it was like one match, the 2, let's say Ukraine and USA, I think 1st and 2nd place in that Olympiad, right? And their opponents played on some other board very low. And since US won the match 4-0 or something, and Ukraine won the match, so if that team wins or draw, then Ukraine becomes a champion, and like one game in that one board decides everything. That doesn't seem about right. Because
anybody had personal experience with the performance
with
like this?
With the
same experience, no?
I had similar experience myself, but it's with performance you can tell in advance, right? You know by the rating of your opponent, you know exactly what would be your performance, right? I had a tournament in Emirates, so I didn't have a very good tiebreak because I started the tournament poorly, like I lost 2nd round, and then I drew the 3rd one or something, and then I won several games. And the tournament was that there's a cutoff at place number 7. So first 7 prizes are, the first prize was more than $10,000. Van Kao won the tournament. So here Krivoruchko plays Van Kao on first board. Van Kao has 7 out of 8. And there are a bunch of players having 6 out of 8. And Krivoruchko plays Van Kao, and I'm playing on 2nd board. I also have 6 out of 8. So, and the first prize is more than $10,000. So really big money at stake if you win the game. So, but I was thinking, what if a draw happens? I am white, I may offer a draw. Is it good or no? and the tiebreak was Buchholz. And I was half of the game I was running around checking my opponent's positions to see whether if they win or if they have a good position, I can offer a draw and then my tiebreak would be good. I didn't know whether to play for a win or for a draw, and I was wasting time, right? It was ridiculous. And at some moment I returned to my board and then I see, that's it, draw is the best I can get. I'm in huge trouble. While running, checking other games, I forgot about my own game. And instead I sat there and focused, and I did manage to hold that draw in a very bad position. So the key was that first 7 prizes get the money, and 8 and below, they divide the prizes American style. So everybody, doesn't matter, 8 or 12 or whatever, you get the same number. And the 7th prize was more than $4,000. And the 8 was much lower, and it was shared. So that's it. So you have to go into top 7. And I barely made a draw. And then apparently all my opponents were playing against 2 other Ukrainians, Yefimenko and Kravtsev. So we were all fighting we all got 6.5 out of 9. And half of my opponents were playing their opponents. And my opponents were playing black pieces, and they were less rated.
Oh, no.
And they had losing positions and they won. It was ridiculous. And I think my tiebreak was like half a point more than Martin Kravtsev's or Yefimenko. So I got 7th place, and 8 and 9 was Kravtsev and Yefimenko, my fellow Ukrainians. And that's it. I got $4,500 or something, and they got like 700 or 600. It was a huge number in difference. But that's my personal story because I was wasting time and energy checking the games instead of trying. If I win the game, that's just awesome. I get a clear second. But we ended up tied from 2nd to 10th place or something. But yeah, tiebreaks could be just play the damn game. That's it. Let's just focus.
Yeah, good question from Ashwath here in the YouTube chat. What do we all think about Armageddon as a way to break a tie? And also another question about the new Keith Arkle book, which I haven't seen. Maybe one of you guys have seen it. Apparently on Endgames. Sorry, but I know Keith Arkle is an English Grandmaster, and England has a bunch of really good chess authors like John Nunn and many others. So I would imagine it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Armageddon, I'm fine with Armageddon. Eventually the game has to end, so that's cool. I thought it was weird to decide on a team match with Armageddon. Like if you're gonna play another Blitz game, just have 4 people play a Blitz game, or I don't know, like like
it can be tie, like 2-2.
Yeah,
oh my
I mean,
gosh.
it's.
At Olympiad, it was a computer was choosing which board.
Yeah, the random. Yeah.
Open board or women board, and then captains were choosing the players, and then a computer were choosing the color also. Oh, by the way, what color would you choose? White or black?
In Armageddon?
Yeah.
Black.
Probably black. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have that experience. I
pressure.
don't know. I don't know.
Because you just need a draw, right?
But I think Armageddon at least was incremented move 60 or something to avoid this unreasonable knight versus knight or rook versus rook nonsense or stuff like that. Some increment at some point. Then black.
Yeah, increment. Yeah, at some point. I actually like the system that the old US Chess League used, which is the predecessor to the Pro Chess League, which was in the final, if it was 4-4 and it was a drawn match, they would have the bottom boards play a blitz game, and whoever wins would then move on to the board 3 player of the other team. And basically the team that wins is the one that's like last one remains standing. So if you win your game, you stay in. If you lose your game, the next board goes up, and eventually it'll be board 1 versus board 1, assuming both board 1s like win their games. And then whoever wins that game wins the match. That's it. That's like kind of like the Armageddon game. So I thought that was cool, because then it's like, okay, both teams get a chance to kind of like play, and even if you're down, you can still come back, or like a lower rated player can pull some upsets. It's like, and then it seemed like a good idea for team competition.
But that's a bunch of Armageddons, yeah?
No, just normal blitz games.
What if draw happens?
And then I think of draw.
Rock, paper, scissors.
No, you're right. It was Armageddon. So draw means black advances.
I see.
Yeah. So it's multiple
Armageddon for Armageddon, yeah. Do you know that there's rock, paper, scissors world championships?
Yeah, it's crazy as well.
That's an official sport.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm sure there's
It's
lots
not
of
solved,
psychology
right?
there. It's not like complete random people win, I would say.
Yeah,
But it sounds
I think
really
we should
silly.
do some more React videos. Yeah.
Maybe they use those same poker programs that say like, okay, if you show this person rock 3 times in a row, 90% chance they're gonna go paper.
That's quite
Oh my
possible. Or
gosh.
sometimes I know body language and stuff. So it's not online rock, paper, scissors. It's actually...
I mean, I remember in Big Bang Theory, which is like some sitcom with scientists, there's a
love it.
character in there who creates rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock from Star Wars. So there's more elements involved there. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, but
there
the
is
point
an
is the
AI,
same.
by the way.
Mhm.
Sorry, there is an
Sorry?
AI for rock, paper, scissors. If you Google it, the engine will play against you and it will start beating you.
What?
It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, like once you play enough games, it'll just start like analyzing your tendencies and just like, yeah, you'll be toast.
Yeah, so we're making fun, but it's not random. Yeah, you can be beaten badly by.
But the way you beat the AI engine is you don't put any thought into what you're doing. and
Exactly, just
you try to-
random.org, random.org, and that's it. You're fine. You'll get your 50%.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And I think AI already is playing way better poker than people do. I read somewhere about that. So it's not only chess problem that you can cheat. You can cheat in poker as well.
There's card counting. Wait, not in poker. Do you get card counting in poker? Or is that blackjack?
No, that's blackjack.
No, because they shuffle every hand, so you can't count.
Yeah. I find it weird that casinos forbid to count you the cards and they would kick you off if you count the cards.
What if you do it by accident?
They still kick you out just to be safe.
Okay.
There's
I
a
think
story about I was studying in the mechanics and mathematics and mechanics faculty, and the dean of the faculty is a good friend of my mom, who's a scientist too. And he told us, me and my friends, the story about a Lviv citizen, Lviv professor, who was really good in poker back in the day. And maybe not in poker, counting cards. Yes, I think that was blackjack. So he was going to casinos when they were legal in Ukraine. Now they are illegal. And yeah, gambling is illegal in Ukraine, but I think now it's legal again. I don't follow, I don't care. So he was going to casinos, he was winning good money, and they were kicking him out. So they have the right to kick you out for no reason, because they see that you're just taking their income away. Just by simply counting cards, you know the odds better, and you can beat the dealer, because the dealer doesn't do much calculation, right? He's just following the system. And if you know the odds, you can beat it. So so they kicked him away, and he tried all the casinos in Lviv and tried to make changes to his face. Nothing like beard and mustache and stuff. No, it didn't work, and he moved to another city to continue his profession there. So you can beat the odds. Yeah. So don't make fun of rock, paper, scissors, or blackjack or poker. It's all math and psychology. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, in some religions, it kind of forbids people to from playing chess, because apparently chess is also some form of gambling. So is chess illegal in Ukraine too?
I wish I would be in national teams then, because everybody. Yeah, I'm just kidding. No, it's.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Hold on, weren't we supposed to check my game with Firuza?
Yes, it's right here. It's ready for you.
Is it right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm guessing the question was Banter Blitz series. What is it, and is anyone taking part? Yes, that's me on Thursday. So tune in to root for me. So what can I say about Alireza? I think he's fantastic in Blitz. and in tactics, and in there's the coefficient, as you know, on these online games where teenagers are the world champions, where you have to like do lots of stuff per second, activities. I don't know any game that is not chess where it's just one step for you. There's how many actions do you do per second? And I think the best in the world in those online games do like from 10 to 15 operations per second in a game. It's unbelievable. Like with the with the shortcuts on the keyboard and with the mouse, I think 15 is the number. And if you are older than 15 or more, just due to biology, you're not that fast anymore. So the best online players of those games are teenagers, just simply because of biology. And they have 10 or 15 operations per second, and they play for hours. It's unbelievable. So he has that number very high, operations per second with his mouse. But with 3+2, it's much less relevant, right? 2 seconds is enough to make a move, right?
So
but
it's
if
not
you have
too
5
weak
seconds,
to slow. It's too old to slow.
All right. So, but I think Alireza needs to improve his positional understanding of chess. For example, I'm going to show you this one win that I had against him.
Yeah, let's see how to outplay Alireza.
Yes. Just take your notebooks and write down all the moves.
Let's go. Where's my notebook?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have it here.
Oh, nice. I love it.
You put pawns in the center,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
3 pawns. Very good.
I'll copy
So
your notes for
actually,
later.
I'm actually delaying knight c3. Usually people go knight c3 here, right? I think that's the most played move here. But I'm a big fan of f4 variation. And so I play f4 without knight c3. You'll see in a second why. So d5, e5. The position is closed. Let's do this. So h5, there are other setups, but h5, it's usually the idea black wants to develop the knight to h6, and then the bishop goes to g4, and all the pieces develop naturally in the position, although black doesn't have space. So I go knight f3, he develops the bishop, and that's why I didn't play knight c3 to have knight bd2. Idea, e6, and now I just simply take the bishop. So black takes, and I take with the knight. I could have played something else, but so the game went like this. He goes h4 to fix my king side. I develop the bishop, he develops the knight, I attack the pawn, he goes knight f5, I develop the bishop to d3, he develops the knight. So I have 2 bishops and space advantage, but and I took the knight, and he took with this pawn. And I remember I checked his video after this. He thought that he had a good position already. When I took this knight, he thought that that was not a good decision of mine. He thought he had a good position because the pawn on h4 is limiting my king side, etc., etc. But I had this exact pawn structure when I played 2014. We played friendly match, Ukraine versus Poland. And young Krzysztof Duda was not as strong. He was 25-80 or something. He was a rising star of Polish team. And so we played 4 against 4 match, and I managed to win against everyone, including Wojtaszek. I won all the games, classical games, and I drew with young Krzysztof, and I had black, and I had this very pawn structure. I knew how terrible it is. It may not look that terrible. He just took my knight on f5, and he had actually much worse version of than I had than this one. It was so easy. He just played b3, c4. And I had no counterplay whatsoever. So I had this experience, I had this pawn structure with black, and I knew how terrible it was. It looked good to me during the game, but when I played it, I had no plan, I barely survived. And I was like, oh, this boy is playing well. And now he's 27, 50 plus, and then he was below 26. He was lowest rated in Polish team in 2014. So I just castled, and then I played b3, and then I played c4. So I have space. The pawn on h4 needs protection. He played queen d7. So clearly he wants to castle long, because that's the only thing he can do now. Castling short just loses the pawn on h4. So, and I'm preparing that I'm gonna push my pawns when he castles. So he castles, and now I close the position even more, and that's it. I have a plan B for A4, B5, and black is struggling with counterplay. So he went rook G8, just in case I move my king to H2. You never know when the pin is gonna work out. So he goes F6 because, well, what else? You know, I'm just gonna push the pawns, and that would be game over, right? You need some counterplay. So he played F6. Played F6, I pushed B4, and now he took, and apparently B5 was good, but I just took with this pawn, because if I take with the F pawn, suddenly the diagonal gets, I just love to open my bishop. Now my bishop is much better. It's no longer a bad bishop, and I have a great outpost for my knight on D4, and he still has no counterplay. So he decided to double rooks, Karpov style, rook G1, you know, so that I don't have to calculate anything. I just protect the pawn in advance. He doubled rooks. No, he moved the knight.
Yeah, that's when you play this rook G1, I think your opponent just don't want to play this rook G8 anymore, because there's
well,
no
H4 is hanging, first of all, but secondly, yeah, like I'm just I'm trying to play so that he doesn't have any counterplay, and I know that I had a similar problem when I was a young player. If I had no counterplay, I would just collapse. So with H, I managed to figure out that, well, maybe doing nothing is fine. Maybe, I don't know, running with the king away to the king side. I don't know, but doing nothing very often is a good strategy. The younger you are, the harder it is for a player to do so. And so he went on to move the knight. I pushed the pawn. He moved the knight. I just pushed the pawn. He moved the knight. And clearly he's going for G4, right? Knight G4 check. Otherwise, why on earth would he maneuver the knight four squares away? And in this game, I made zero calculation. Only at the end, when he resigned, I needed to calculate something. So here I see knight G4 coming, H takes, pawn takes. I don't want to calculate that. I didn't want to calculate any. So I just moved my bishop. He gave a check, and I just moved my king. And I'm just sort of making fun of him, like, where's your counter? Oh, no, I wasn't making fun. I was just trying to zero counterplay. Knight went to G4, spent 4 moves. Okay, what's next? There's still nothing happening next. He moved the queen, rook C1, C6, queen. I'm slowly improving. He still has no counterplay. Capture, maybe capture was premature. Maybe I could have prepared a little bit. He took, I put the rook to open file, moved the bishop back. Knight is coming to D4. He took that pawn. I enjoyed it. Moved the knight to the center. He came back. I love this position for black. All the pieces look beautiful. I pushed C6. He went B6. I moved the queen to A6. And that's it. I can do pretty much anything right now, right? I'm completely dominating. I moved the rook here. And I could still, and rook C2, I'm preparing to double my rooks. I do double my rooks, and then knight B5 is coming. And then I played knight B5. And I was like, there must, C7 should kill right now. He moved the rook to C7 and just resigned. And I was in the middle. Now when I needed calculation, now I needed to see that some capture is about to kill it. I can take the rook. Bishop B6 would be a winning continuation. And then I guess rook A1 or queen B6 or literally anything else is just completely winning. So he just played rook C7 and resigned. And I did zero calculation in this game. So, and what surprised me was that he thought he had a good position. I checked his stream here, and I knew exactly that his position has no counterplay. I'm strategically almost winning already. So, and I've seen some other games where he's amazing in dynamics, open position, tactics, the speed of moves and calculation. But when it comes to little deeper stuff, there's still lots of room for improvement to hit the top level. So he's clearly top level in Blitz and Rapid, but for classics, it's still a long way to go, in my opinion.
It's interesting when he changed his opinion that his position is not all right. It's just very bad. Did you watch the stream?
I know. I just watched that particular moment, and I was like, "What?" He thought that he had a good position. Maybe he didn't have experience with this pawn, but I had this pawn once 6 years ago, so that's why it takes experience and time to get to know. He probably never analyzed this one, so that's why he didn't have this frame of reference, and I did.
Yeah,
so
that's really
thanks for young Krzysztof Duda. Yeah.
It did look, I mean, yeah, I would have also thought black is fine there, just on first glance. Like, looks like you traded off
Yeah.
bad bishop.
Yeah.
Close, like, what's the problem? Like,
Yeah.
but no, that was really cool.
Just attack the pawn on h4, b3, c4, as simple as that. And no counterplay from black, whatever happens. And that was it. Don't watch the other games. They are embarrassing. In one game, I put the queen where on c3, and he thought it was a mouse slip. No, it wasn't. I just put the queen to a square that was attacked. It was not a mouse. It was the whole game. I played a great game. It was equal position, about equal. I just put the queen where it's under attack, and he took it.
Oh no, that's the worst. I thought it was
It's like
massive.
unbelievable, and yet I can play a game like this in the within same hour. I don't know.
It's typical Sunday again.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, that's tough. I like how you said you barely calculated in this game. Like it didn't require.
That's why I won. The
Just-
moment I started calculating, it's just all goes.
Oh
You
my
resigned
gosh.
before you had a chance to to calculate.
Yeah. Oh.
There's one famous game by Gligerich where he won with black, where there was no captures in the game. It was like a
What?
40 move game.
We
Yeah,
need to
you guys
see
can
that.
Google it. Yeah,
I've seen
I can try to
recently.
find
I've
it
seen
real
a
quick.
game.
Mhm.
Recently, I've seen a game. The French defense. Similarly, all the pieces on the board, black resigned. All the pieces on the board, like just resigned.
Yeah.
I think we have a topic for our next chess talks.
How to win a game without any capture? Yeah.
What a
Yeah,
clickbaity
I'll try to
title.
find this game.
Nice. Yeah, it's so nice game. How you get all these skills? Like, it's very positional, right? You were just thinking of
I
every
wouldn't know
move.
where to look.
Yeah. You
Not
mean my game
calculating
or
at all.
the other one?
Yeah. About your game. I'm still here. I'm still watching the board.
Yeah.
Can you say that it came from your own experience and also from some classical chess games like you analyzed earlier?
No, I didn't analyze classical chess as people may think. So I'm not a representative of Soviet or Russian or even Ukrainian chess school. Actually, most of our training was on dynamic chess. But when I became older, I started to enjoy endgames and positional play, and long-term strategies and maneuvers. I started to enjoy that. So people tell me that I'm a universal player, so I don't have any obvious problems in any of the area, but I'm not excelling in any of the areas either. So all I knew, I analyzed this third move f4. By the way, I recommend to play this one if you play against g6, bishop g7, f4 lines. To delay knight c3. Maybe the pawn goes to c3. You don't know that, but the pawn goes to f4. So I analyzed a little bit and I knew the plan. So here it was just purely because young Krzysztof Duda showed it to me 6 years ago, what to do with white. And I just took that knowledge and applied here. That's it. That's all I did.
That's your classics.
Yeah, maybe this is my immortal game. Yeah.
Oh my
Kostya,
goodness.
what's your chess style?
My style, that's a good question. I feel like I am a intuitive, technical player. I don't like to calculate. I can do it. I don't enjoy it. I can do it. I prefer to play on intuition, and I like attacking as well. But I would say I'm a more naturally inclined to like trying to get like a space advantage, squeezing the opponent, and playing in this style. I guess my chess heroes are like people like Kramnik, Aronian, maybe Carlsen as well. Yeah.
And what about the banter levels? From 1 to 10, banter levels. So you get the chess style and then banter style. Very important. Yeah.
What is a banter style?
Yeah, I'm not following.
It's okay. Just ignore me. I'm making bad jokes. Don't
We're
worry.
too old for that, I guess.
It's okay. Come on, keep it. Yeah.
And what's your style, Jesse?
Mostly hope chess. You know, playing
Hope
a
chess?
move. Yeah, so it's like playing a move and hope it works. I'm just kidding. I like more attacking tactics, open games. I'm less of a positional player. You mentioned Aronian, Kostya. So you like his English games?
I think Aronian is a genius player. Yeah, I mean, he's very good with English, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like so my heroes would be Tull, for instance. You know, just reckless sacrificing. Probably also intuitive, but not as the intuition that doesn't work rather than the intuition that does. What about you, Keti?
I think I'm more positional chess player, but I also enjoy tactics. Like, I think it depends on the mood I have at that day. Yeah, I think it's just about the mood I have that particular day, or just what I need for if it's a last round. But more I enjoy positional chess. Like I think it's more beautiful. I don't know why I think so, but
Yeah, positional chess is great. Karpov. Oh man, what an artist.
yeah. You feel all the piece. You feel all these squares. You're going, and I don't know. I feel it's more beautiful rather than tactics. It's strange.
I would say there's a lot of correlation between the chess style and the personality of a player. And with personality can change with time. So, for example, you mentioned Kostya Kravnik. He was extraordinarily dynamic in the 1990s. Unbelievable combination, sacrifice, and then he just switched. And I'm gonna play Catalan, and I'm gonna squeeze the water out of a stone, and I'm gonna outplay you positionally. And then at some moment he decided, yeah, I'm just going back to playing dynamic chess. So he's an absolute genius in both of those things. So yeah, you have to be a genius to beat Kasparov anyway, right? So
he describes his playing style as universal. Like, I enjoy this, I enjoy that too.
Yeah. I think these days, if you want to be a top player, you have to be universal. Mm-hmm. You have to be like, I can think only maybe Hikaru Nakamura was not a universal top player when he was firmly in top 5 in the world. He was not universal, I would say, but he had to add Queen's Gambit Decline to his opening repertoire besides King's Indian at some point, because you cannot play King's Indian all the time.
Right.
So you can't only play good chess on Earth, you must be able to play good chess on the Moon and Mars and the other planets.
I feel like Mamedyarov had a similar transition. I feel like he was known as really like dynamic player, but then like the last couple of years, he's just like one of the best prepared players in the world and super solid and technical and like, winning end games.
Yeah. You have to be universal. Otherwise, people see your weaknesses and they can just adjust. If they are universal players and you're not, they can find lines and openings that just don't suit your style, or go to positions where they know you're performing worse. That's why it's quite interesting to me how come Caruana has a poor blitz rating. It's 2710, his blitz rating is 35th in the world. Sorry?
How poor is that, right?
Oh,
no,
man,
but I mean, he's amazing in rapid and in classics, and okay, 11th in the world in rapid. I'm just checking, and in classics, well, we all know number 2 for years now.
Yeah.
And somehow in blitz, he's not good, even though he's constantly in time trouble. So I'm not sure.
I think this might be a controversial opinion, but I think the best blitz players in the world have a natural gift for like tricking their opponent. And I don't know if I see that in Fabi, like that instinct to kind of like make a dubious move but trick his opponent. I think he does make dubious moves, actually, sometimes even on purpose, but not in like that tricky blitz sense. Like, you know, I think you guys know what I mean. I feel like he's like a very like correct, nice guy. So he doesn't have that like killer
So
spirit.
wait, if you're a nice guy, you can't play good chess.
I think you can't like, yeah, I just don't see him, you know, like, because I think he's like very concrete, right? So he's just trying to calculate everything out. Whereas there might be opportunities to just kind of like catch the opponent, maybe take a risk and trick them somewhere. I'm totally like just making this up as I go on. It's just my personal feeling. But yeah, there must be a reason why he's not like 2850 with the rest of the guys in Blitz.
Yeah, because I understand Grishchuk is always in time trouble, but he's amazing in Blitz.
Yeah.
Caruana is somehow not as great as in other aspects of chess.
Interesting. Do we have one more game to answer?
Sure.
Yeah, I pasted this game in now, and
This one without changing the pieces. Yeah.
This was a game, yeah, that legendary Svetozar Gligorich won without a capture. He's playing black in this game. And we get like a Rui Lopez. And yeah, opening is very conducive for closed positions. And eventually white plays c5, d5. And now like the maneuvering battle starts. b4. And I think this is where maybe Gligorich starts winning the game, maybe starting with this last move, g6, kind of preparing this kingside plan of eventually breaking with f5. Of course, Gligorich is known as a King's Indian player, so this was, I'm sure, very natural for him. White goes h4, knight h7, h5, knight g5, queen e3, and now a fantastic move f5, just kind of blowing everything open. And the position is so sad from White's point of view. Everything's so passive and awkward. Now f4 is a huge threat. e5, g takes f5. Black just keeps control of everything. Queen a7 was played. Just trying to get out. f4, knight f1, rook a8, queen b7, and then rook e7 was the last move in the game.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
29 moves, unbelievable.
when games play themselves.
So yeah, I think Gligorich would have done well against Firouzja.
Yeah, if you're playing Firouzja, just close the position and you'll still lose, but at least that's the best.
Oh my gosh. Kind of advice. Oh my gosh. Here I was actually listening. I was like, okay, I'll close the position. If I ever get a game against Firouzja.
Is it better to lose in 60 moves without any chances or in 25 moves with some chances?
Ooh. Of course I'll take the some chances, but I want to last longer at least.
You know, like beginners, when they play like in simul against like grandmasters, I lasted 4 and then they say the number of moves. And then in that case, it's better 60. If you really stand no practical chance whatsoever, then yes, just the number stands for itself. But if you do have chances, it's better to take the chances. Otherwise, you lose without playing, basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But don't just go like, you know, e3 or e6 and d6 in the opening and just like try to... So yeah, I'm not going to lose in the opening here.
So how to beat a 2700? Challenge them in King of the Hill or some other chess variant by tricking them.
I never played any of those variants. Never. Literally. None of those.
It's fun.
Is it fun?
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, King of the Hill is fun for sure.
Highly recommend.
I don't even know the rules. You have just a bunch of pawns, or what's that?
You have to get your king to one of the center squares, so the first one wins.
Okay, never played it. Well,
yeah, it's like all the same rules of chess, except if you play your king on the center, you win. Yeah, legally. Yeah.
Legally. Yeah.
So it allows for some nice combinations. I think Danya is a big fan. some nice sacrifices. You get your king to e3, quiet move. Opponent can't stop king e4 or king d4.
Winning combination. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
winning combination.
The Bong Cloud played correctly.
Oh, I remember Irina Bulmaga was streaming. I think it was her. Was streaming. I think she has something like Friday with Irina, and she was playing a game, and she had completely winning position, like completely winning position, like I don't know, 5 pieces up or so, and she made final move king e4. And she got 0. It's like, oh, what's happening? What happened? And then people in the chat wrote that that's the rule. If you get the king on e4, you lose. And she's like, oh, I wish I knew it earlier.
You lose.
So
Oh, that's a
ridiculous.
different.
That's interesting. It's like inverse.
Yeah, right. Wow.
I played other version. Have you any of you played the, I'm not sure what's the name, like Magic Chess, or I don't know what that is. So let's say if you put a piece on the B and G file, it turns into the knight. And if you put it on A or H file, it turns into the rook. Although the piece itself is not changing, but it can move as a rook on A and H file, as a knight on B and G file, as a bishop on C and F file. Any piece except queen and king can change. So you play knight H3, and that's a rook. Have you ever played this game?
That's trippy. I wouldn't try.
No, it's so fun. Okay.
Wow,
So
I
would
try
enjoy
that.
those games as well. Okay. I also played this cylinder chess. Have you heard about that? Cylinder chess? No? It's like if you take back in the day we had the boards that you take it with you to the tournament that you can like roll into a cylinder, right? So you put your chessboard and you make it a cylinder, and then you put your pieces like this. So same starting position, but A and H file are connected to one another. So you play on a cylinder, not on a table. So A1 and H1 squares are adjacent to another.
I heard that's the kind of chess they play. Those aliens playing that movie Arrival. I don't know if you guys have seen Arrival.
No.
Random reference, but yeah, that's the chess that they play in that movie.
Oh my gosh.
I love this one. It's like A and H file are one. So you go with the king to H3, and then you go to H3 on next move.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back to H2, and then so the board is connected. So if the rook is standing, it's so rooks are protecting each other in the starting position.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fun to play because the diagonals are weird. All the diagonals are the same, 8 squares. All the diagonals have 8 squares. There are no short diagonals anymore.
Okay.
Is it possible not to win at all?
I was thinking about that. Can you give a checkmate with the king and rook? If the board is circle, the king keeps running away. I'm not 100% sure. You have to cut it off vertically, I guess, and then you checkmate, right? So it's not connected on the first and eighth ring, but it's connected A and H file. And
what
it's
about bishop and knight?
No!
No chance, of course not. No, you just run away.
No.
There's no correct corner. There are no corners. There's only the edge of the board. There's no corner.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it reminds me of this one picture of Usain Bolt. It was like a motivational picture. So it had a quote, and Usain Bolt was playing a game of chess, but there were no kings on the board. So he couldn't lose because he didn't have a king.
Okay. He couldn't win either, but that's another topic. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. Okay.
Can we discuss our next game? This is Ershavsky against Petrosian.
Ooh, yes. Let's get that one up. And this was game of the century, was it? No?
This is one of the famous game, right? But
yeah, I think game of the century belongs to Fischer.
That was the other one. Okay. So we don't have that one with us. Which is the game you made me feel really bad about not knowing?
Oh, Kasparov Topalov.
Oh, that one. Okay. Was that a World Championship match game?
Yeah, let me ask Twitch and YouTube chat. I mean, you guys are at various levels of chess knowledge. How many of you guys have heard of the game Kasparov Topalov Wykonze 1999, aka Kasparov's Immortal Game?
Can we actually check that one instead of?
Also, the people who say yes, they've seen it. Are you above 2,000 elo?
Yeah, fair question.
I read a question on Twitch when I explained the rules of Magic Chess or the Cylinder Chess. Does it require you to take LSD, Mykhaylo?
I think the answer
I'll
is
give
yes.
you this one. So the rules of those games are itself difficult. So even playing one move is hard. And then at some point, we decided to connect these two, Cylinder Chess and Magic Chess, so that A and H file are the rooks, and then it's cylinder. And you're like sitting in one position, like, which piece can I capture? That's the question is even hard to answer. Right now, what can I capture right now? Not attack.
Back to basics, yeah.
Back to basics, exactly. And we were like sitting 5 minutes on the move. This is woof. So yeah, you need LSD apparently.
The answer is yes. Okay. Have you guys
If
tried
chess is not difficult enough for you, you can go ahead and play these versions.
Have you tried 5D chess?
5D chess?
5D chess, yeah, exists.
What is that?
It's a version of chess that involves multiverse time travel.
Okay.
Yeah, I played that on stream once. And you start with like some tactics to see how it works. So, for instance, knights can move back in time, or if you checked, you can move your king to like a different dimension. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, that actually sounds fun if they like pulled it off. I would be willing to try that. Does every world champion have their own private immortal? Like if they did it well, like if the game like makes sense and it's like fun and.
Yeah, it exists. It does exist.
No, I've seen it. I know it exists, but like I'm hoping that they like made a good game. Because if it didn't work, if it was like weird or if like it's hard to play, that would be unfortunate.
It's definitely hard to play. That's just me.
Yeah, I think chess itself is very difficult. For me, Fischer chess is difficult. I'm just looking at the position. I cannot evaluate. I have no clue what is going on. That's why I don't think that there are lots of people who say that Fischer chess is the future of chess. I don't think that. I think if I cannot understand the position, how can the general public understand what is going on? So unless you make it something ridiculous, I don't think it's gonna catch on, because the game itself is difficult. Even with engines and commentators, it's still difficult to explain to broad public what is going on. In Fischer chess, it's like nobody knows what the hell is going on until a position looks like the one that could have happened from a regular game. Then I can evaluate it. Otherwise, I'm like, who's better? I don't know. Maybe it's a win. I don't know. It's just there's no frame of reference. I don't know what to compare it to. It's like I'm confused. So how can people follow it that know only the rules of chess? I don't think there's future behind it, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Too bad.
I really want it to be the case that Fischer chess is the future, but I don't see it happening. If our goal is to broaden the audience, I don't think that's the way to go. Simplifying the rules, that's the way to broaden the audience, so that make it simpler to understand. Like any sports, like you check, you understand that was a mistake immediately, right? If a football player kicks the ball and doesn't hit that's it. Oh, he screwed up. Everybody knows, and people can have a beer and discuss, I would have done better. That's not the case with chess.
Yeah. I know there was competitive checkers. I don't know if that's still a thing, but then they solved checkers. There was an AI that solved the game. So what happens if they ever solve chess? Do you think that's possible?
Oh, that's impossible.
Impossible?
I immediately can tell you that, yes.
Oh.
The number of possible iterations and number of games is beyond the number of atoms on Earth or even universe by different measurements. So it's impossible. So for example, the Nalimov Tablebase. Nalimov Tablebase with 6 pieces, I think it has a few hundred terabytes. I think that's if you want to download it. There's the Lomonosov Tablebase with 7 pieces. So it's exponential. Like with 6 pieces, it's this number. With 7, this number. With 7 pieces, it's this. And with 8 pieces, it's like... So maybe they would figure out 8 pieces, but 9, I think, is impossible. It's beyond the capacity. Like even if it was solved, we physically cannot store it anywhere on Earth because there's not enough. Even if you store one position in one atom, it's still not enough atoms on Earth. So that's no, it's never going to be solved.
I mean, luckily they detected life on Mars. So if we ever make things that way, then
yeah, maybe if you take Mars and then hold the solar system and then
there we go.
Put hard drives there.
Pretty much storage space. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yet.
So don't worry, it will not get solved.
Okay, that's good. Because then all the books, everything, all the players, what would happen? So, I don't know, have we gone through the game yet? Because I just saw the end. So that was a whole spoiler. Keti?
Yeah, I think we can go quickly.
Okay.
Which one is this?
This is the Reshevsky Petrosian.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
oh, I just Googled Nalimov Tablebase, 5 pieces is 7 gigabytes. Just do the math with me. 5 pieces, 7 gigabytes, 6 pieces, 1 terabyte, already 140 times between 5 and 6. And 7 pieces, hold on, I'm still Googling it.
Let me get my calculator.
It's still loading the number.
Let me grab my calculator quickly.
140 terabytes is the 7-piece Lomonosov endgame Tablebase.
Oh,
so
that's
140 times the 6 pieces. So it was from 5 to 6, it's 14 times more. From 6 to 7, it's 140 times more. And from 7 to 8, it would be 10 times more than the previous step. So from 5 to 6, it's what, 14? From 6 to 7, it's 140. And from 7 to 8, I'm guessing would be 1400, not 140. That's it's still within our capacity, but one more step, and there's a 1 0. It's not 1 0 adding, it's 0 adding to the ratio, not to the number. So
yeah, actually, it's interesting. Like when you first hear about engines and how they calculate like millions of moves a second, you think like, how have they not solved chess?
Yeah.
But then when you like start counting how many possible moves, like 20 moves on your first move, 20 moves for the opponent, 400 each, 16,000, 16,000, or 160,000, and then it's like, oh, how do computers actually calculate anything at all? Like the branch goes infinite.
Yeah, if they were calculating literally all the moves, the depths would be 3 or 4. That would be the depths when it has to make because it runs out of power. So they eliminate the moves without considering. So they have inbuilt, like the Stockfish, for example, the neural networks. I have no idea how they do it. Just like us, I guess. We have no idea how we do it. So.
They prune, yeah.
I mean, some endgames are theoretical draws, and the engine will still show like +2 or -2 for that.
Yeah.
Not
anymore.
Happen?
Stockfish 12 was released this week, and that problem is gone now. So they took the Stockfish and the evaluation function of a neural network, and they connected it to one another, and that's it. That problem is solved.
Yeah, have you used it, Mykhaylo? You've noticed any difference?
Yes, it's just way better. So I had a selection of positions where Stockfish 9, 10, 11 just had no clue what is going on. Half of those positions, Stockfish 12 is figured out.
Wow.
The AI is taking over.
Yes, careful.
It's time.
Don't give them too much power.
Yeah. The robots are taking.
But it's not AI. It's just one fixed neural network that just evaluates the position. So the Stockfish is still, the algorithm is still the same. But as far as I understand, the Stockfish is calculating some lines, and at the end of each line, it has to put a number to evaluate the position. And before that, that number was assigned in advance. So like if the bishop has so many squares, that's this number. If the knight has, so it was all predetermined in advance. And now it's all being delegated to the neural network, and it gives the assessment from its capacities.
And does it also like choose which moves to calculate? Because Stockfish's problem was always that, like, you know, it doesn't understand that an idea is like possible or likely to work or thematic. It just calculates everything, so we'll often like miss sacrifices. It just doesn't really, it just doesn't understand that like bishop takes h7 and knight takes f7. These are like typical moves to check. Does it do a better job of like looking at those moves now?
Yes.
Wow.
You can check some positions with Stockfish 12. One of my positions that happened in my game, and bishop h7 is the fastest Stockfish with billions of positions it considered. It didn't see it. It thought it was losing. The moment I play it, it gave zeros. The moment I play another move, it says, oh, of course it's winning. But it was not considering it. But that was the problem. You had to help it. Now it seems it can, at least that particular position, it managed to found. But still not all of them. You still have to offer those moves. That makes
Does the engine improve itself, like as you're using it, if you're finding these moves?
No.
I mean, does it remember?
Yes.
Yeah, if you take move back slowly, it will remember.
Yeah. When you take back your move, then it's his or its first suggestion.
Okay.
But if you press left slowly left. If you go click, it forgets for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay. Goldfish brain. Got it.
So let's say you found the problem Stockfish didn't see, and then you slowly come back to the position that is actually of interest to you, and then it would memorize that, and then it would give you a better evaluation. Yeah. Okay. So Stockfish 12 is way better. Just download it. It's way better.
Interesting.
And it's gonna get better because they would. I think it's Leela's neural network that they use to evaluate all these positions, but it will get better with time. So they just, if the neural network improves, they just change it, and the Stockfish will change itself better. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, because the last one I heard of was Leela and Alpha Zero, so I don't really know what happened to those.
Yeah, Leela is the Alpha Zero.
Is it the same thing? Oh, okay.
It's better.
Okay.
Better already than
Alpha Zero was retired by Google because that was basically their little science project. And then chess enthusiasts kind of used the same idea to create Leela Zero, which is now like
I think they gave the code away, but they didn't give the network. So they said, this is how we did it. You can go ahead and do it. So the point of Stockfish, you just download one small file and you have Stockfish, and it's not changing. With neural network, it is learning itself. So they said, this is how we started the learning process. And then we used our supercomputer, and we're not giving you that. We're just giving you where we started with. And enthusiasts started to teach it. And now it's second best or even the best engine in the world. Yeah.
So if I get Stockfish, which is the latest one, 12?
Yep.
I will be 2,800. So where can I
by the end of the year?
Okay, got it.
I thought your goal was 23.
Oh yeah, sorry. I mean, after the talk, it's going to be 2,900. So it's just climbing here. My goals. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. Did we see the game? Did I miss it?
Yeah, let's see the game.
Let's quickly see
we can
Who's
quickly
in charge?
see it.
Yeah. Oh, we have not so much time left. Wow,
Yeah.
time flies.
Sorry, anyone can show it, I'm sure.
Oh.
Yeah,
so this is the game Reshevsky Petrosian from way back when. I think this was from, is this from the Zurich Candidates? The big famous one?
It was played in Zurich in 1953.
Yeah. That's the one.
I just checked the notes now.
That was my favorite tournament from Zurich.
Unbelievable.
Sorry to disappoint.
So I'll just take things to the critical moment. I guess this is one of Petrosian's most famous moves of his career here, playing black against really talented Sammy Reshevsky from the States. And I guess Petrosian's trademark was his level of defense, right? They called him Iron Tigran because he would lose very, very few games every year. And it's almost like he would defend positions before the opponents even realized like they were winning or they were better. He would just come up with a way to make sure that he's not losing. So in this position, I mean, black feels worse. White has the two bishops and these central pawns, and now that white has defended the pawn on e5, he wants to play e6 at some moment, maybe even d5 if given the chance. And well, here comes black's next move, just truly fantastic move, rook e6. Now it's not just a, let's say, strategic sacrifice, or he's not just like offering the rook up because he wants takes and he controls all the light squares. The move improves black's position as well because he's opening up the knight coming to e7 and then using the d5 square. And this is now something that white has to think about. But Mykhaylo, I think you had some very strong feelings about this, right? That white didn't have to take this rook ever. Is that right?
Yeah, you can just ignore that rook, or you can take it. This is still advantage for white even with that exchange down. So modern engines really questioned that's the best move in the position, because otherwise black is in huge trouble here. White has two bishops and the center and the king side attack, and so black is in trouble. So rook e6 is a good move, and knight e7 is coming, but white is still much better whether white captures or not. So yeah, let's say if you analyze this one with the modern engines, they would say that white is it's not like it's equalizing or anything. It's just a great positional sacrifice, but white is still much better.
It's the kind of move I think, I mean, it saved the game for him. Petrosian like held very easily. And of course he did this a lot in his career, like sacrificing the exchange just to control some key squares and get positions like this, where his minor pieces are just like kind of outplaying the opponent's heavy pieces. I think a lot of people, though, they do need to develop like kind of a better sense of danger, where I think a lot of players, they don't want to give up material basically until they're forced to, until there's just like no other option. So if you have like a difficult position, I think many players are just going to play whatever they can to avoid losing material until they're just getting checkmated, and then it's like too late to do anything else. So it takes some real skill, I think, to actually give up material as the defender before things are so drastic that you're actually just resigning if you don't do it at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it seems that white. So the game continued with a4, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the idea, is to improve the bishop, right? Just the bishop wants to get out to a good diagonal. Apparently, if white were to focus on the king side, like with rook g3, and then h4 and stuff, rook f1, bishop c1, just focus on the king side, not that diagonal. The other, black is in big trouble after move like rook g3, for example. Knight e7, takes, queen to g4, the pawn is hanging. And now if black goes knight d5, which was the destination, now there are multiple problems on the g file. h4, h5 is coming, so you cannot do that. Anymore.
Oh wow.
Queen g4. Oh, sorry, rook g3. Yeah, rook g3 takes rook f1. Let's say rook f1 is the better move here. Just improves the rook. There's nothing to see on the e file anymore. And on knight d5, you go queen g4, and black is paralyzed. On the g file, h4, h5 is coming. The bishop is about to go to c1, and black is in trouble. Black is still very solid, but it's not like black equalized. So white with one move a4 managed to lose that one. But it's also a natural move. It's, hold on, Botvinnik Capablanca, right? a4, bishop a3, bishop goes to a3 with the winning combination. So maybe they had that game in memory, so the bishop joins through that diagonal, but it turned out to be not a good decision because of knight e7, and that's the good one. Now suddenly black is doing very fine.
When
Yeah.
in doubt, play a4. Got it. Keti, are we taking notes? I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
it's
you
a
gotta
typical
study
idea
some
for
classics.
Nimzo.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Sorry?
You
Yeah,
gotta study
Botvinnik
some classics.
Capablanca. Check that game.
Oh,
Botvinnik
memes.
Capablanca. Same similar pawn structure. Botvinnik Capablanca. You should check that game.
I'll stop, I promise.
Okay. Yeah, too bad Petrosian didn't win this game. That would be an instructive, really great moment. Like a critical moment, he gives a sacrifice and then he seizes the initiative and wins. But fortunately, it was just a draw. But the idea for, if you've never seen this one, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
But once you've seen it, you like take it for granted. Yeah, of course, d5 square, knight is coming to e7. What else can I do? But for many people, it's just mind-blowing. Yeah,
I think it's because of Petrosian that this is now like a normal idea. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So we take it for granted, you know, like Philidor position. When he came up with the Philidor rook endgame, everybody was like, what? But for now, we take it, come on, children should know that one, right? So,
Yeah.
or like gravity and Newton with physics and everything we take for granted. And now, yeah, rook e6.
Can you imagine studying rook endgames in the 18th century and trying to show people, like, look, you can't beat me in this position. Like, I don't care, Francois.
Oh my gosh. Oof.
I'm a lonely guy.
It's funny.
Those after comments. Oh my gosh. Cool. Well, yeah.
So this is the most important moment of the game, right?
Critical position.
Yeah,
This
by
is
the
it,
way, maybe it's because rook e6 was shocking for Reshevsky that he was like, what? He gives me material, I'm going to give it back. And so when my opponent surprises me with a good move that I didn't see, I immediately start playing poorly. Don't tell anyone, please.
Oh my gosh.
So that's exactly what happened. Rook e6, what? You know, and then a4 mistake, and then black is very fine.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's actually true.
Perpetual stalemate in the chat says, I kind of hate Newton for gravity. He'd be flying if it wasn't for him. It is funny, yeah. We would win
Right,
rook endgames
guys.
if it was not Philidor, yeah.
I think we can finish the stream
Yeah.
for today, and we can show more gravity positions next episode, and some more beautiful games and stories of chess.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a lot of
please
fun.
visit CoChess. There's still 50% off for premium coaches. If you want to become better, at least a few lessons can really boost your improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like these. Okay, cool. This was a lot of fun, and I learn a lot during these chess talks. I really, really do. It's such a privilege being here with all of you. And yeah, you must have a great evening further. And Kostya, it's probably still morning where you are, right? I don't know.
My day's just getting started.
Oh man, what time is it there?
It's 12:30. No, it's great. I'm gonna be streaming on Chess Dojo Live in about half an hour, and then
Awesome.
yeah, we got our Sunday show. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm gonna
no,
be
this is the last guys.
lurking over there then. Awesome. Go check them out. All right. Thank you guys. All right.
Thank
you all.
you everyone. Thank you.